What's up, guys? Welcome back to the ranch. All right, it's the 23rd of October, and today we're talking about pre-rut hunting. Now, I'm getting out in the woods next week, and it is the pre-rut here in New York, and I love this time of year. What's happening in the woods? Your deer testosterone is way up higher. They're moving during the day. They are ready to do the rut, the mating, everything that they're programmed to do. They want to get it done. The problem is the does are not quite ready yet. So what happens is you get a lot of testosterone male buck flare. They are out there, they are working scrapes, they are rubbing trees, they are trotting around, fighting with each other a little bit. They are ready, and they cannot wait for the does to come into estrus, to come and be ready for the party, which really is going to be in a couple more weeks. So this is a great time to be in the woods because now you can start catching your bucks, doing maybe not the smartest things, moving during the day a lot more, and they are out there. So now I am fortunate enough that I've done some homework and set up on my hunting club property, not on the ranch, and found a great little bedding area on a trail between a saddle. And in this spot, I have an absolute monster hanging out. I can include a picture of him. Very excited to have an opportunity at a deer like this. He's presented with a lot of pictures and a lot of movement right on this deer trail. I am set up in a saddle, so I have the two mountaintops and I have a trail coming over the two mountaintops. That's what you call a saddle. There's a low, flat, level spot between 2 points, and the trail goes right across right there. And I come up this way on the inside of the crest here, not inside of the saddle here, up like a drainage ditch. There's actually an old logging trail, but it comes on a very low angle up. And I know my wind will be blowing back down and suck down that and follow the whole edge of this one mountain right down behind me. Little problem with that is sometimes deer will come off the top bedding there and walk through my scent like trail, and I get busted sometimes in this stand. So if I can get to the stand and let the wind blow me out a little bit and clear out my scent, I'm usually very golden for a lot of action in this stand. So I know my big Mr. Big Guy is coming and bedding over in here, and there's a pinch swamp area that he comes around. All my pictures have him kind of coming right next to my stand right here. And I have been fortunate to get a lot of pictures of him, a lot of daytime pictures ready. So I know he's in an area that's very comfortable to him. I also know a lot of the other guys in my club are not seeing him. So that means he's hanging out over in this area I'm in. So now what am I doing to make this happen pre-rut? We have a target. We're in a good strategic terrain. So I'm working terrain. I'm working a trail. All these already tip it in my favor. We have the deer coming into higher testosterone, the bucks I should say, and they want to be out there moving around. So now, what do? I have a mock scrape that's been used on this trail, and that's what has this deer interest, and he keeps checking it. So now, I need to set up on that. I'm working sign. If you wanted to do pre-rut and you don't have a mock scrape set up, find a natural scrape. Find natural rubs, because this time of year, they are working them. They know the doe aren't quite ready, so they keep working their sign. They haven't abandoned it yet. And that's what makes this pre-rut so exciting for bow hunting here in New York. We can sit on some sign and get some action. So, sounding all good, right? So I know he's coming. I got a mock scrape. He's there. This is going to be great. What are things you should do to make this even better would be use the wind. Make sure your wind is correct. You don't want blowing to where you think he's bedding. You could do a little light calling. I'm a big fan of calling in the pre-rut because they're going to respond, the bucks. They want to kind of know hey, who's that? No, I'm over here. This is my spot. Get out of here. And they'll come in, they'll investigate. I like that a lot. Sometimes during the major rut, it's a good stopping them. Doesn't change the direction because they're locked in on that doe scent that's tough to recreate. So this sounds awesome, right? Let's talk about things, because by no means am I a professional. I am just a super enthusiast that maybe you shouldn't do that this guy is about to do. One, you don't always want to hunt when the weather isn't correct. So next week, we have temperature coming up. Every day is going to get warmer. Not that optimal. Usually you want to hunt pre-rut when the temperature drops. or a rain event ends, or right before a rain event happens. So next week's kind of blah. It's just a week of temperature coming up and The days are right, everything else is kind of right, but the temperature is really wrong. You know, even if you could watch weather channels and see where pressure's coming up and temperature's coming down, where those intersect, are usually great days to be out in the woods for pre-rut rutting activity. So thing I wouldn't suggest that I'm about to do is I have to hunt when I hunt. I work a real professional job. I have set days off. These are my days. And what can I do? I make the best of them. If you don't have to do that, like this guy, don't do that. Watch the weather. When the weather's perfect, then go out and hunt. You will definitely have better luck by working the weather and getting out there when you can. I also have to drive 3.5 hours to get where I need to go. So when I get there, I get there. It's my days. I got to make the best of maybe bad situations. So heading out when the weather is not so great, this is going to work against me. Second thing is, if the wind is not great, if you know you got to penetrate into this saddle area and your wind is going to be blowing to where you think this deer is bedding, not a great day to be sitting in your saddle in that stand, not a saddle stand, a stand in a saddle, a terrain saddle. You don't want to hunt there. So I may get there next week and the wind may not be cooperating with me, which means I can't even go there because it's not worth me blowing him out. I know for certain with the weather working against me temperature-wise to not go there. So don't do that, which I definitely won't do that, but that's something that could work against me because again, I can't just not go because the weather isn't right. So I will be going. Another thing that I'll be doing that's not that great, that I don't recommend you do, is hunt many, many days in a row, which I'm about to do 6 days in a row. So I may not end up in that stand every day, 6 days in a row, but I'm gonna be there and back and forth a bunch of times. Every time you enter a stand to sit for a deer, you're leaving some scent, some sound, some presence in one way, shape, or form. And that is gonna educate. And it's gonna educate very quickly a deer that's very big and very old and has been through this game of hunting and chasing before. The older they get, the wiser they get, and the less they will tolerate stuff. So don't do that. What you should do, which I recommend for pre-rut, would be if you could find a perfect weather day, perfect wind day, and you could get off and get in the woods on a target buck that you got some homework on, that he shows up in the morning or he shows up in the afternoon, and sit at just that time for 1, maybe 2 sits, and then you got to give it a break. You got to let the woods calm down because the deer are going to get educated and move away. Unfortunately, I got 6 days coming up and I'm going to hammer 2 areas pretty hard. So now you're saying, but why do you do that? Why don't you want, because again, I got just the days I got off and I make the best of these situations. And sometimes I make it come together really, really well. And I got a few heads on the wall that prove that. But other times, I come home with nothing. And that's just the way it goes for the average, just a super enthusiast, not a professional hunter. So this is my story about pre-rutting. And you can get out there and you can enjoy the hunting. And these are some things you should be doing. Getting some intel, sitting in good terrain, working the sign. You could do some calling. You could do some light rattling. All that will help your odds because the deer will be out there. Some things not to do, which is what I'm doing as a recap here, would be go whenever the weather might not be the best, go consistently for a long time to the same stand, and then maybe during your trip, which would be my situation, if the wind changes back and forth, not even be able to get to the stand where your target buck is, and then the next thing you know, bow season's over because you only got so many vacation days that are scheduled at a particular date, and that's that. So this is my pre-rut excitement story about what's about to happen for me here in upstate New York in the next week. If you liked any of this, please give me a thumbs up and like the story. And I hope I can bring you a follow-up about some buck encounters, or even better, a video of me getting this monster buck with my hands on his antler base, smiling ear to ear. Thanks for watching.